Gold and Blue Dude back with another video just for you, the college football fans. So if you are a college football fan, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. That's all we do here every single day. And don't forget to go ahead and check out our Patreon page. I call our Patreons the shot callers because they call the shots around here. Also, don't forget to check out our website, designed and created by Joey Foster. We now have 9 great writers, led by our 2 head writers, Michael Walker and Scotty B. the Baylor King. Today I wanted to talk about group of 5 teams that still have a shot to be called up to the Power 5 conferences. I think the Big 12 knocked down the first domino, and that kind of opened the door for some of these other group of 5 teams to get the call up. Now, I'm basing this on location, their brand, fan support, and their potential to make money for the conference that they would join. So all the other technical aspects like Tier 1 research facility for the Pac-12 and AAU status for the Big 10, I'm going to put that on the back burner for this video. And I'm going to give each team a grade as far as how well they would fit into a Power 5 conference if they were to get the call up. First team I want to talk about is Memphis. And I've talked about Memphis before going to a Power 5 conference. I think Memphis would be the next brand to get called up. I think Memphis has a big brand in football and basketball. They have a great sponsor in FedEx, big TV market in the Memphis area. I think they have a great location. And right now, they're actually investing money in itself. They're renovating the Liberty Bowl. It's supposed to look great after the renovation. So I think Memphis is a potential moneymaker for a Power 5 conference. In fact, I would say they're more than potential. I think they would actually make money for a Power 5 conference. I think they would fit in the Big 12. I think they would fit in the ACC. I think they would fit in the SEC and the Big 10. Memphis would make money for somebody if they got the call up. So I'm giving Memphis a 9. Next up is East Carolina. This is an interesting brand right here. They do have a great fan base, decent location, not the best location, and they have the potential to be a moneymaker. So you would be taking a risk. As far as where they would fit, I would say either the ACC or the Big 12. So I'm going to give East Carolina a 4 on this one. The next brand is going to be Appalachian State. Now, we all know Appalachian State ever since they upset Michigan, one of the biggest upsets in the history of college football. Well, Appalachian State also has a great fan base. It is a smaller brand, but they do have name recognition. However, I do think Appalachian State would be a risk. Appalachian State wouldn't be guaranteed to make a Power 5 conference money. So I'm going to give Appalachian State a 3. Next up on the list, South Florida. South Florida is an unpredictable brand. Mid-2000s, they were way up there as far as brand recognition. I think they got ranked as high as number 2 at one point. Right now, not so much. They have an erratic fan base. When they're good, they get great support. When they're bad, they get hardly any support. South Florida does have a great location, though. I will give them that. And in some aspects, South Florida does have the potential to make money for a Power 5 conference. But they would have to be extremely successful because that's the only time they get fan support. So I'm going to give South Florida a 5. Next up is an up-and-coming Liberty. I think they're an up-and-coming brand. 5 years ago, nobody would have known who you were talking about when you said Liberty. Right now, if you mention the name Liberty, most people would know who you were talking about. So I think they have a decent football brand right now. I do think Liberty would be a big risk because all their success is very, very recent. They haven't had sustained success yet. I do think they have a good location up there in Virginia, and I think they have a potential to be a bigger brand and to make some money. But once again, I think they would be a big risk. The only conference that I think Liberty would fit in if they did get the call up would be the ACC. So I'm giving Liberty a 4. This next brand, instantly recognizable, UConn. UConn has a lot of potential, and they already have a great basketball brand. They have the potential to have a decent football brand. We saw that in the mid to latter 2000s. They've fallen off a cliff ever since they went independent. But maybe getting back into a Power 5 conference like when they were in the Big East would bring their football brand back up because we saw the potential back then. I think they have a decent TV market, a decent location, and I think they would fit in either the ACC or the Big 10. So I'm giving UConn a 6. Having an established basketball brand and showing that you can have great success in football and make some money gives UConn a leg up on some of these other teams. That's why I'm giving them a 6. Next brand, this is going to be a military academy, and that's going to be Army. Recognizable brand. We all know who Army is. They do have a questionable location up there in New York. They have a very loyal fan base. Potential moneymaker. Army is a potential moneymaker, especially with the Army-Navy game TV rights. When that game rolls around, that's the only game in town in the nation. Everybody watches it. Big time TV ratings. A lot of money gets made in just that one game. I think they would fit in the ACC and the Big 10. I'm giving Army a 5. Right next to them is going to be Navy. Some of the same reasons. Good football brand. Good location, unlike Army. Very loyal fan base. I think they also are a potential moneymaker, especially with the Army-Navy rivalry I just mentioned. But Navy also plays Notre Dame every year. So that could bring in some more money for the Power 5 conference that they would join. I think they would fit in the ACC, the Big 10, and the Big 12. I'm giving Navy a 5. Next up, we're going back down to Florida. I'm talking about FAU. Now, FAU has a growing brand. It's still not a strong brand, but it is getting bigger. I think they have a great location. They're in the state of Florida. Decent fan base. I think FAU is a potential moneymaker. I really do. I think they would fit in the ACC, the Big 12, and the SEC, and I'm giving FAU a 6. I think having Lane Kiffin as their head coach really strengthened their brand. I think that was a big step for FAU. Next up on this list, UAB. I think UAB is a fast-growing brand, pretty good location in the state of Alabama, up and down fan base. That's the only thing. The problem is they have to compete with Alabama and Auburn for fan support. So I would put UAB in the slight risk, but I still think they're a potential moneymaker, and that's why I'm giving UAB a 5, and I think they would fit in either the ACC or the Big 12. I don't think the SEC would want anything to do with them because they already have Alabama and Auburn. Next up on the list, Louisiana, back to the Sun Belt. I think Billy Napier built a powerhouse brand in Louisiana in the Sun Belt. They've shown that they're a good fan base, good location, and they're a potential moneymaker. I think Louisiana would fit in the ACC, the Big 12, maybe the SEC, although they already have LSU. But I'm going to give Louisiana a 4 because it would be more of a risk. Now we're going to jump on over to the state of Texas. So the next brand is going to be UTEP. I think UTEP's a growing brand. It is in Texas. That is a major check mark. They do have some work to do, and the fan base needs to be more supportive. Very up and down fan base. But I do think UTEP is a potential moneymaker simply because they're in the state of Texas and their brand is growing. I think they would fit in the Big 12 and the SEC. So I'm giving UTEP a 5. Staying in the state of Texas, UTSA. I think they're actually a little bit better of a brand than UTEP right now. Fast growing brand. It's in Texas just like UTEP. I think they actually have a decent fan base, not as up and down like UTEP. And I think UTSA is a potential moneymaker. I think they also would fit in the Big 12 and the SEC. I'm giving UTSA a 6. A little bit higher than UTEP. Now we're sliding a little farther west. I'm going to talk about Nevada. They have a decent brand, very loyal fan base, up and coming. They have an okay location. It could be better, but I do think they're a possible moneymaker if they're in the right situation. I think they would be great in a package deal. None of these teams would be good in and of itself except maybe Memphis so far. A lot of these teams would need to come in with a package deal. I think the same is true for Nevada. I think they would fit in the Pac-12 and the Big 12. I'm giving Nevada a 5. Staying in the state of Nevada is going to be UNLV. Better brand than people realize. I think UNLV has more money than people realize, but needs to work on the brand. It's decent, but they need to work on it. They have a great location. I mean, Las Vegas, that's one of the best locations in the nation. I think UNLV not only has the potential to make money, I think they have the potential to make big time money. But I will say the fan base does need to be more supportive. I think UNLV would fit into the Pac-12 and the Big 12, and I'm giving UNLV an 8. That might surprise you, but I'm telling you, they have money. Staying out west, now we're going to talk about Utah State. I think they have a decent brand, good fan base, I'll give them that. Decent location, I think their location is a little bit better than Nevada. And just like Nevada, I think Utah State could be a potential moneymaker in the right situation, depending on what package they're brought in with. I think Utah State would fit in the Big 12 and the Pac-12, but I'm giving Utah State just a 4. It's a weaker brand. Next up is Boise State. To be honest with you, I think Boise State is a national brand. They have a loyal fan base. They're not in the best location, but it's okay. And I think Boise State has the potential to be a big-time moneymaker. I think Boise State would fit in the Big 12 and the Pac-12. I'm giving Boise State an 8. And right now, Boise State is investing money in itself, not just in renovating their football stadium, but they're pouring money into a lot of their sports complexes. So they're investing in themselves. I think Boise State can make some money for a Power 5 conference. Now we jump on over to the state of California. The first brand, San Jose State. Honestly, I think they have a weak brand. They have a lot of work to do. They have a great location though, so they do have that going for them. They definitely need more support from the fan base, but if they finally got their act together, they are a potential moneymaker just because of their location. I think they would fit in the Big 12 and the Pac-12, but I'm giving San Jose State just a 3. Very weak brand right now. Next California school is going to be Fresno State. I think Fresno State is a more popular brand in California than people realize. They have a very, very loyal fan base, good location, and I think Fresno State has the potential to be a big-time moneymaker for a Power 5 conference if they're in the right situation. I think they would fit into the Big 12 in the Pac-12. Honestly, I think they would fit into the Pac-12 the most, but the California schools that are already in the Pac-12 need to get over themselves to let Fresno State in. That's why I'm giving Fresno State a 7. I think they would be a great fit for the Pac-12, and I think they bring more to the table than people realize. Finally, the last team is a California team. It's going to be San Diego State. I think San Diego State's brand is getting bigger in both football and basketball. They have a great location, great fan support right now, and San Diego State doesn't just have the potential to be a moneymaker. I think they will be a moneymaker for a Power 5 conference if given the opportunity. Once again, this goes back to the California schools in the Pac-12 because I think San Diego State would fit in well with the Pac-12 and the Big 12, but they'd fit in more with the Pac-12. But those California schools that are already in the Pac-12 have got to get over themselves to let some of these other California schools into the Pac-12. I'm giving San Diego State a 9. Great location. Their brand is at an all-time high, and I think they would make a lot of money specifically for the Pac-12. You California schools, get off your high horse and realize where the money's at. I think Fresno State and San Diego State would be a wonderful package deal for the Pac-12. I think they would make a lot of money for the Pac-12, and they would bring some excitement back into the Pac-12. And don't forget, San Diego State just built themselves a brand new stadium, and it's a very nice stadium. So they're showing that they're willing to invest in themselves and spend some money to upgrade their facilities. So they're actually improving their stock as we speak. That's why I really like San Diego State, and that's why I gave San Diego State a number 9 ranking, because I think they would make a lot of money for either the Pac-12 or the Big 12. So y'all let me know in the comments section what you think of these teams on my list and how much of a chance you would give them of getting the call up to a Power 5 conference. Remember, the SEC and the Big 10, they're fine, but the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the ACC, they need to make some moves to strengthen their conference. And as you can see in the video, there's plenty of brands out there that could do that. And let me know if there's any teams that I actually missed. I tried to pick out all the teams that had the potential of being caught up, but maybe there's a few teams out there that I forgot. So let me know in the comments section if I forgot any teams as well. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.